Let's talk about 8 best practices. There's definitely more than this. This just covers a few items. First one, engage with your students. This is so important. From the very beginning of the course to sending some kind of welcome message to your students to recognizing when they're having difficulties and reaching out to them. Because many online students will not let you know when they're having troubles. They will sit in their own house and just keep doing poorly. But if you reach out to them, you can perhaps find out what's going on and how can you help them. Now, when we're talking about reaching out, I'm not talking about a personal phone call, but emails. And if there's an advisor of some sort, whether it's in a local school or the local building that the online high school has there, then perhaps get them involved. Develop a cooperative learning environment among the students. Get them to work together in some manner. And my goal here is not to tell you how to do that. You've all had training in teaching, so you have better techniques than I could ever give you. This is more of just what should you be doing in this online school. Sometimes this occurs naturally in a regular classroom. Students will just kind of bond together and just start working together. This has to oftentimes be forced in online environment because potentially these students don't know each other, and reach out to somebody you don't know and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this. Could you help me? Well, that's difficult. And an example of a cooperative learning environment might be you give a project that the two of them work together, not maybe in person, but in a virtual environment. Use active learning. Just because we're in an online class does not mean you cannot use the active learning techniques. Now, they're a little bit different. Think, pair, share might involve, instead of being a 5-minute activity, might involve a 24-hour activity where you assign two people to communicate with each other through email or whatever mechanism, and then for them to share the results on maybe a discussion. So there's different ways you can do the active learning, but it still exists, and that is very important to get them involved in the class. Grade and respond quickly. Now this will be something set up by administration and how fast they expect the response to be. But it can seem like forever. If somebody emails you and you don't hear back for 2 days, then that's a nightmare. Unfortunately, some people have unrealistic expectations. They send an email and they expect to hear back within the hour. I've had students do that. They'll email me and say, I'm waiting for your reply. It's just like, well, I don't sit on my email constantly. And grade in a reasonable time. And again, this is be set up by the administration to tell you what those reasonable time expectations are. You'll find that if you grade and you respond back quickly through messages, email, you'll find that there'll be less stress for yourself. Sometimes when you don't get online and it starts building up, then it's stressful for the teacher also, because they think, oh, I got these 20 emails I got to respond to. It actually saves you stress, saves you work if you respond back quickly. Expect your students to meet deadlines. Do not allow them to expect you to move the due dates back. My personal belief is that if you set hard and fast due dates, and you can adjust that accordingly if you feel like it's necessary, but if you set those and you, instead of giving additional time constantly, if you drop lowest test grades or assignment scores, then this is a better method of approaching this. This keeps them on task. If you get behind in many of these subjects, it's very difficult to get caught up. Some people say, well, just give me 3 or 4 more days. Yeah, you got 3 or 4 more days, but then those 3 or 4 more days are taken out of the next week's material. So you get behind on that, and that creates stress on themselves. Have high expectations of your students. Students will work to achieve whatever expectation you set. If you set a low expectation, they'll work to achieve that. If you set a high expectation, then they'll work to achieve that. Each student has so much potential within them, and as a teacher, your job is to bring that out. Respect cultural differences. Now, this might just be in different techniques they've learned to solve problems in the past, as in a math course. It could be just the way they approach interacting with students and with the teachers. So it's important to understand what's appropriate and so forth. This might be a learning experience if it is your first time teaching in a particular country. So recognize that you probably will make some mistakes, but we'll learn together and we'll grow. Understand the fear. For any student taking an online class for the first time, there's a little bit of fear. It isn't the same as a fear that some relative's gonna contract a disease and pass away. Different kind of fear, but it's still a fear because you don't know what's expected. You don't know what an online class perhaps even is. And I see this all the time when I teach online classes. I have students come in, they've never taken an online class, and sometimes they'll ask me a lot of questions, send me a lot of emails. I'll get perhaps 7 or 8 different emails right off the bat from a student, and they're just trying to get over that fear, even though they could read it themselves. It's right there, maybe in the syllabus or in the documentation. They need to hear it directly from the teacher to overcome that. So understand that, and that you will have that fear factor at the very beginning, and it'll probably cause you a little bit extra work at the beginning. But once they get comfortable with the online environment, you will not have all those questions, and they'll feel at ease with it. Now, these are just different techniques, different best practices to use in your online instruction.